Hello and welcome to weeks 2, our live experiment. And today I'm joined by Rob Belasabas, and Rob is the person who told me to go live and to try and do it once a week, whether or not that be answering questions or doing more formal setups like this. So the reason we've got Rob on today is because Rob does a heck of a lot of live streaming. Rob, how many live streams have you got today?
Oh man, today probably going to be doing. I think we're going to be doing at least three today,
So it's
so
just
it should be
just
fun.
3 today. So Rob is a brand evangelist for TubeBuddy, so he does a lot of streaming with them. He used to work for Thinkific as well, the course making platform. He's also got his own YouTube channel, which I'm going to show you right now. I'm not. I'm going to
Thanks.
show you my YouTube channel. This is his. So a lot of content there on streaming using products like Ecamm, which is what I'm using right now to make this kind of presentation. He's also very active on Instagram, sort of behind the scenes stuff. And what I particularly like about all Rob's content is it's very uniform. So everything on YouTube looks very similar to the stuff he puts on Instagram. It's all very high quality, and it's something people tend to struggle with. So I think, yeah, he does a great job of promoting himself on there, and I think his channel is definitely one to watch. So
Thanks.
what we thought we'd do today is just run over live streaming, really. Less the kind of technical aspect, because there's so much to the technical aspect, more the
Yeah.
kind of fears people have about doing it, and kind of like I did, it was a bit like, oh, I'm too small to do that. But Rob didn't think so. So Rob, just first, why do you think small channels should be live streaming?
Yeah, good question, Ed. First of all, thanks for having me on. Awesome to be honored to be your second, or I guess your first guest
You're
today,
the first
second
ever
week. So
guest.
yeah, no, awesome. And everyone watching on the replay, hello. Watching live, hello. Let us know where you guys are from. But yeah, I think small channels should definitely start live streaming because it's a good way to, small or big. I think you should definitely use it for community building. That's probably the main, way, like the main reason that I do it for sure is just to build community. I think we were talking about, online courses just a second ago. You mentioned Thinkific. So kind of what I learned there is that there's a certain way that people learn, right? Whether you're in a classroom or like online, it's like you get given information. So people will like consume your videos on YouTube, and then hopefully they go and put it into practice. And then what they'll probably find is that they'll have questions, right? And so I think that questions part is where the live streams come into play. That's when they can come and interact with you, ask you those questions directly, and build that connection with you. And so you don't just become this person on YouTube that's telling them things that has no like personality, not human. It's just like consuming your content. They get to connect with you. You get to answer their questions. You say their names, that sort of thing. You have a dialogue with your audience. And so it's a very powerful tool to start using live streaming to build your community. And also the second reason I would say is to do collaborations like this. Right, you get to work with and connect with other creators and other content creators, other experts in your space, in a very easy way, even from your home. Like right now we're all kind of stuck at home, and so you can connect with them. You don't have to fly, you don't have to travel, you can connect with them. And really what's happening here is that your audiences get to come together. So we shared this live stream on my channel, on my social channels, and also on the TubeBuddy social channels. So hopefully there's people here from TubeBuddy that's going to be starting to discover Ed and business film booth and what you guys are doing. And again, really easy way to collaborate. So community and collaboration, I would say for sure, is what live streams are for. I
So
see some people here too.
yeah, thank you for turning up, anyone. So when people start live streaming, there's kind of a lot of issues, especially on the tech side, and we're going to try and stay a little bit away from that. But what are some problems people need to be aware of? Things that can go wrong when they do live stream that they should think about or consider first, for their first setup.
Yeah. So I would say if it's on YouTube, you do have to make sure that you have a verified YouTube channel. There's no requirements for subscribers or anything. It just takes 24 hours, sometimes 48. So you just want to make sure you do that. Some people will be like, some people have messaged me and said, "Hey Rob, I need to go live on YouTube tomorrow. How do I start doing that?" And like, oh, here's some playlists that you can watch on my channel. There's some tutorials, but if you haven't started the process of verifying your channel, then you can't go live right away. So it just takes 24 hours. The other thing I would say is definitely the platform itself. So right now you're using Ecamm. There's other tools out there, Restream Studios, StreamYard. And it just takes a little bit of a learning curve, learning experience. There's comments coming at you. There's different screens. So just like any software, any tool, you just kind of need to know how to use it. So a little bit of practice. And also, if you have a friend that can kind of help you, do sort of like a private or unlisted YouTube live just to see how the flow goes. That's what I would suggest, just on the technical side of things.
Definitely. So I'm currently looking at my screen here, the side. If anyone's wondering why I'm looking away, there's 13 different windows open, 13 different controls, mic controls. I can push this button, and we should have a little bit of an applause, a bit of some sound effects in there. We can reposition things. So yeah, that is kind of a little bit overwhelming. So talk to me about Restream and some of the other platforms and what you can actually do, because it's not just about streaming on YouTube here, is it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can live stream on Facebook, on LinkedIn if you get access to LinkedIn Live, on Twitter through Periscope. And so specifically with Ecamm, you can connect Ecamm to a tool called Restream.io. And then from there, Restream allows you to take your same live stream. So if we were using Restream right now, we could take the same live stream. Ed wouldn't have to do anything different. He would just connect it to Restream and then select other social channels or pages that he wants to live stream to. And so he can go live to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, all at the same time, which is really cool because then you get to, he will then be able to connect with his audiences in all those channels. Some people just aren't on Facebook. They're only on YouTube, or they're not on YouTube. They're only on Facebook, or vice versa. And so by doing it that way, you get to connect with your customers and your audience kind of where they're comfortable. You're not forcing them to go to a platform that they don't want to go to. So yeah, really, really cool tool.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem is that sometimes people don't want to go on YouTube or they're not familiar to it. I know that last week my dad was asking me, how do you comment? Because he was on a mobile and he couldn't find the comment option at all. I still can't tell him why. He sent me a screenshot of what it looked like and I've got no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it should be, if you scroll down below the video, I think, on a mobile, that it's there.
Yeah.
So of course, one of the big issues with lives is trying to get people there. Although it will be on demand after this, trying to get people to actually give you their time can be tricky. So what sort of advice would you have for trying to drive people to live streams?
Yeah, so definitely. So first thing is schedule your live streams ahead of time, especially on YouTube. You can schedule it for really as far ahead as you want. But I would suggest, anywhere from 4 to 7 days, right? Schedule it ahead of time. That way it's showing up on your channel, just like Ed did for this live stream. It was already available for you to see and sort of like click get a reminder. So you can set a reminder for YouTube lives. That way, when it goes live, it will send you a little alert on YouTube that, hey, Ed is now live. You can go check him out. So send a reminder. Set it up and schedule it ahead of time. On Facebook lives, you can only schedule up to 7 days ahead, literally down to the minute, like 7 days ahead. That's the maximum. And so scheduling ahead, I think, really helps. It also allows you to then, if you have a scheduled live stream, it allows you to email your list. So if you have a list of your users or people that are subscribed to your newsletter, you can include that and you say, hey guys, we're going to be talking to so and so, or we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be doing a live Q&A on Friday. Make sure you respond here or go to the scheduled live and set the reminder. And start sending us your questions, right? So whether it's like just a solo live, or you have a Q&A, or you have a guest, invite people to ask their questions ahead of time. That kind of starts to get them open up that like sort of like curiosity loop in their mind. They're like, I'm going to ask Ed a question before, and so now I really want to know the answer. So now I should probably attend the live stream so I can get the answer. The other thing, especially with YouTube, is also treat that live stream as a regular uploaded video. So make sure that it's SEO searchable. So the way that, Ed, I'm not sure if he meant to do this or not, but he says, how to crush your first YouTube live. So there's three words there. First YouTube live, right? That's something that's very searchable. And so anybody that, since it's a public live stream and he scheduled it ahead of time, people that were searching that would have probably stumbled upon his scheduled video. Even after this video will stay public, and it will be searchable, so people can search and end up finding this video. So so those two things: schedule ahead of time, and keep in mind that it's also searchable. And make sure that you set up your live streams to be found through search, which is a huge traffic source on YouTube for views.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I think I'd probably change the name from Crush after this to how to set up your first live. But it was an intrigue. So, yeah, that's some great points, especially emailing and people and trying to get questions in beforehand. I didn't do that this week, so that's on my list for next week. I'm learning as I go on a live public stage here, but I think that advice is golden. So that's kind of like the very basics of live. That's not, of course, that's not what you just do. So you're building your own channel. You do a lot of work with TubeBuddy. You meet a lot of quite big movers and shakers as well. So I'm sure you've got some diamonds, nuggets of information. What's your advice as a small YouTube channel for sort of getting going? Because I think the first 100 subscribers are a nightmare for people. The first 1,000 are tricky. And then you kind of think in your head, this should get a bit easier once you pass that point. Not that it necessarily does. But yeah, what are your tips for people with small followings trying to get over that initial hurdle?
Yeah, it kind of goes back to, so me, for example, for me, my experience with YouTube has been kind of backwards. I used to create a video without really thinking about SEO or keywords or anything like that. I just, somebody would ask me a question and I'd be like, oh, I should probably make a video on that. I'd make a video, spend a day, editing, filming, and then get to YouTube and think, okay, what's going to be my title here? What's going to be my keywords and all those things? And I would end up with a really, competitive keyword for that video. And my channel being small, that video did not go far. And so, I've since kind of turned it around, probably around the 400 subscriber mark. I think right now I'm around 1,600. But around the 400 subscriber mark, I kind of switched it around where I would do keyword research first, identify the topics and the keywords that I could, have a really good chance of ranking for, and then create a video based on that keyword. And so that's kind of when I started seeing some growth. And just doing that. The next thing is probably consistency. So if you're just a very new channel, you just need to put out a lot of content, at least one video a week. If you can, 2 videos a week. Live streams count. So if you do one uploaded video and maybe you do a Q&A live stream session with your channel, with your subscribers, I think that's a really good start to really start growing. You start collaborating, right? Start asking people that are in your space that you don't necessarily speak about. So let's say you're in marketing and you specialize in email marketing. Invite people that talk about Facebook ads, invite people that talk about Instagram, and have them come to your show and interview them on your channel. Because again, like I said earlier, they'll share that video, they'll share that out. It also helps you have different content. It all comes back to your core message, which is email marketing, right? But you want to bring in other people, and then that way you get in front of their audience. So collaborating, being really consistent, and doing keyword research before you just put out videos out there randomly. Identify some of the 5 to 10 keywords that are good keywords for you, for your channel, and start really going deep into those keywords, meaning, create for each keyword, maybe create 2 to 3 videos. That way, when people are searching, you are coming up all the time. And when they stumble upon one of your videos, then they may get suggested your other videos. and so they're going to stay on your channel watching more of your videos. And so that's really, if I could start over again, that's probably how I would start, and I would probably save myself a bunch of time growing to where I am currently. I'd probably cut down, knowledge is power, right? So I think I would definitely get to where I am now a little bit quicker if I had known and applied those things.
Yeah, that's that hindsight for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are all great points. Just shooting back to the live,
Sure.
I think one of the main things that kind of scares people is, what if not one person turns up? What if you're just talking to an audience of zero? Has it ever happened to you? And what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So it definitely does. Yeah. So it definitely happens. And so what I would do there is, like, every time you go live, first of all, you don't want to have nothing to say, right? Like, even so right now on my channel, every Friday I do a live Q&A with my subscribers, and literally it's just me answering their questions. And so, even though I have a good amount of subscribers, very loyal, very like engaged, there's always people turning up for the last, couple months. I don't ever think that, it'll never happen that nobody will show up. So I always kind of prepare and make sure that there are a few questions that I've pulled from my direct messages that past week, or comments and videos that I really wanted to answer, but I didn't have. It's not something you can kind of answer while you type into the comments, and so I actually take those questions and I put them in the comments of that scheduled live stream, and so that if nobody shows up, I will just answer those questions. And so, so always prepare, have questions if you're doing a Q&A. If you're doing an interview like this, Ed, and there's nobody that shows up, that's fine. Have the conversation, because most likely, like what you have questions ahead of time that's been prepared. So go through your questions, ask other questions, because usually ask a couple questions sort of like at the end, and then wrap it up. People, like I was telling Ed, like, you can turn off the chat after this live stream is done. And after this live stream is done and people watch this video again, you can set it up so that they don't see the live chat that happened. And so people don't have to see, like, oh, was there people there? It doesn't really matter. People just want to see, they just want to get the content from you. And so hopefully we're delivering some content for the people watching on the replay here. But yeah, it's totally fine. A lot of people kind of worry about, like, what if nobody shows up? That's fine. The first few times, especially if you have a smaller channel, there's a very good chance that nobody will show up. And that's totally fine. The more that you show up, people will end up watching the replay and they'll be like, oh, I missed that one. I wonder when Ed's going to go live next. And so now they'll be kind of like conscious of it. You're like, oh, it looks like Ed goes live every Tuesday, or like, when the next time that you put out an email newsletter or an Instagram post that you're going to be going live, they'll make a better, effort to support you and join you on the live stream.
There's an area of you've got to, like most things, consistency and getting people into habits. Definitely. I think one thing that shouldn't scare people as well is there's a lot of work for us, writing, filming, editing. Our lives quite easy. You do once the first one set up, I'm not going to edit anything. The content's coming from someone else. Really, all the work's in the promotion. So I think there's definitely something that we'll be trying a lot harder next time, is in the build up, getting a lot more questions and trying to get people bought in before they go on the stream. So when it comes to lives, so on Instagram, Facebook, places like that, they tend to push lives more. Is YouTube the same?
Yeah, I would say so. Whenever I go live, like it does show like this person is live, especially if you're subscribed. And that's what we're trying to do when you schedule them. You want to make sure that people are, clicking the set reminder button. So yeah, I see some people here in Syncarator, Europe, says this is the second time on Ed's live. So that's awesome. So loyal fan, that's great. So, it just kind of becomes that thing, that habit. Especially if you tell people when you're live, and Ed, you're very consistent so far, 2 for 2, same time, same day.
100%. No, it's a bit earlier this time, but
that's okay. Yeah, no, I appreciate you making it a little earlier, but yeah, so it lets people know, like, oh yeah, every Tuesday morning or afternoon where you are, Ed is live, and so I should join and hang out there. And so for us, like even TubeBuddy, It's always Wednesday. Sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, depending on our guest. But it's always Wednesday, and so people know that's Wednesday. For my live streams by myself, my Q&A, it's always Friday mornings. It's kind of like it's like a little show, right? It's like a little like you just have fun with it. It's kind of like a little show. It looks like there's a question there from
Yeah, so
Syncurator, but
this is so in Syncurator, they make the disposers that go in sinks and crush up all the waste that you put down, as well as those kind of boiling hot taps. So now you know what their kind of channel is about. It's a tricky one.
yeah,
Could we do Q&A on our
Yeah.
products? I can't see many joining.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. You really want to check it out. Like, I'll have to check out your channel, what your content is about, but it sounds like a fun kind of content that people would just like kind of watch. Definitely Q&A. I think Q&A for sure, because it's a product that you guys, it's like a physical product that you guys have. So definitely Q&A. People may have questions like, oh, how can I do this? Or, this is my sink. What would it look like? You can have people like maybe even send in pictures of like their setup, and then you can kind of give them sort of a live sort of consultation or something like that. I'm not sure. Sorry if I'm not understanding the product very well. I'll have to check out the channel. But yeah, you can kind of do fun things too. Like, oh, okay, there it is.
Yeah, so
Yeah, let's see.
this is their
Okay,
website here. Up here we got. So it's a slick product.
it's like a garburator kind of thing almost, or
Yeah, so it goes underneath the sink, and then you throw all the food waste in it, and
nice.
you can get rid of
Yeah,
get rid of your bin. Well, not,
yeah,
not all of
yeah,
the
yeah,
bin,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
the problem
Nice.
they've got is because Will It Blend years ago, they did this so well with their blenders, and it just leads itself so nicely to, you know, will the disposer eat it sort of thing. But it's been done,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is the
yeah,
shame. So it is a tricky one. I think
yeah.
really
Q&A.
from what you were saying earlier, it just comes down to being prepared to give your viewers a little bit more almost personal one-to-one time. And
Yeah,
if they can't make it, then it's not a problem because they can watch it again anyway. So it's going
exactly,
to apply there.
exactly.
Here's an interesting question. Do you think Q&As work for channels that aren't really talking head channels? Or is the content too different from your normal content for the subs to appreciate?
Do you think Q&As for work for channels that aren't really talking head channels? Yeah, like I guess what are the non-talking head kind of channels? I mean, for us, we could do. So I do a lot of software tutorials. Ecamm Live. I'll talk about Ecamm Live and Restream and different things like that on my channel. So I have. Yeah, I mean, I guess I do like mostly my introduction in talking head, just like this, and then I'll just share my screen the whole time. So I think especially for those kind of things, yeah, I mean Q&As work just fine. So the thing with like live streams, people think that you have to show up on camera. You don't have to. There's a lot of live streams where you're just seeing their screen, depending on the type of content. Looks like yoga by Liv. So is that maybe sort of like yoga content?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's something that would be very powerful, like for sure for live streams. They'll ask their questions. You could kind of do a bit of again, you have to have some. When you notice live streams, it's kind of like a radio show, right? So they'll always usually be a monologue or a dialogue between the two people there or the one person there, just to get the conversation started. And then they'll open up the Q&A, like, hey guys, I want to teach you guys how to, rank, on the first page of YouTube. These are two things you should do today. And then it kind of like you get delivered some content, and then it'll be like, okay, now you can ask your questions. What questions do you have about what I just shared with you? It kind of gets your mind thinking, right? So same thing with you, Liv. Hopefully that will, but you do some like, hey, this is one stretch or one pose that you guys can do today. What questions do you guys have about that? And then people may, hey, I've got this, ache on my lower back. Like, what are some of the stretches that I could do for that, or what's some I'm having problems sleeping. What are some stretches about doing that? That sort of thing. And so it gets this conversation. The other thing that we didn't really talk about, Ed, is that live streams is like such a good way to connect with your audience and kind of use them as a focus group almost for content. every week, whenever we do live streams, I always come up with like, oh man, that was such a good question. Like we never answered that question in our videos on our channel. So that came up twice already. We should probably create a video on that.
Yeah.
People are asking how to use, like how do you connect an external microphone when you're doing live streams? I've never done a video on that. That's so easy. Let me make one. A lot of the times as content creators and as experts, we live in our own sort of like almost bubble where we talk about this stuff all the time, all day. And so we know it so well, we forget that our audience is not quite where we are. And so their questions are actually sometimes very simple, and we fail to answer those simple questions. And so live streams, again, you kind of uncover those simple questions that you forget that you should answer as well, because some of your audience members are still there, with their knowledge.
So it gives you less work again. Once you've gone live, the content's less work, and then it gives you ideas, which is less work.
Yeah, yeah, so many things, right?
It's a winner.
Exactly.
Even if no one turns up, you still win.
Yeah.
So we've got a question here, and I'm just picking it up.
Yep.
About ranking videos for a new channel.
Okay.
Apologies, I cannot read your name. My Arabic's a little bit rusty, if that is Arabic. So ranking through a new channel, Rob. What are your thoughts on that? There's also another question from the same person saying they've been using TubeBuddy, vidIQ, titles, tags, and so on. Have you had any experiences with ranking when you were sort of in the earlier days?
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised with the videos that I ranked. It's completely by accident. Yeah. So as far as ranking video, especially as a newer channel, then first of all, YouTube, if you guys, I mean, Ed, I don't know if you want to open up a YouTube video or a YouTube window and just search, I don't know, live stream tips or something. And what you guys will notice is that YouTube actually has these little badges for newer videos. I think for the first 7 weeks of a video in the search results, it will actually show like these badges saying like this video is new, like specifically. So Ed's going to do a search there. So if you guys notice, so YouTube itself is actually promoting newer videos, right? So they'll promote newer videos to you. And that's, so if you search anything, Ed, like, live stream tips, for example.
Sorry, my internet went a bit.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
It's all good. I always love seeing what's in people's homepages. Like, you're catching up on the Apple.
It's like looking through their underwear drawer. I get a little bit embarrassed by
exactly.
my don't look.
Yeah. So if you want to zoom in there, but yeah, so YouTube itself is pushing new videos. So in a way, like in a really, really big way, YouTube is really promoting new creators and new videos because they want people to discover those videos. So you'll see, Ed, like the first few there, it does have the little new badge. You can't really see it, but but they're there.
They were live,
and so
right now. So
lots of live.
There you are, Rob. You're popping up pretty close to the top there. Live stream tips.
So what'll happen is that, and then as far as so ranking your, if you're using, TubeBuddy, then you'll notice that there's actually you'll get a score based on your channel. So depending on how big your channel is, what kind of content you're talking about, how many views you're getting on average for your videos, it will tell you how good of a score that keyword will be for your channel specifically, which is beautiful because then there's no guessing, right? And so you want to make sure that you are going after, especially if you're a newer channel, just like anything, you want to make sure that you're going after the longer tail keywords. So what that means is that, a little bit longer than like, say like maybe you can't go after yoga tips, but you can maybe go after yoga tips for the busy entrepreneur or something like that, like something longer. Now, it probably won't have as many searches each month, but at the same time, it's probably not as competitive. So you have a better chance of ranking for those keywords. And that's totally fine. YouTube is a bit of a game in that way where, your channel is only this small, this size. And so you need to rank for some of the longer tail keywords and it starts giving you some traffic, right? And then as your channel grows and grows, then you can go after some of the more aggressive and more competitive keywords. And so that's really the way that you do it. You can't just go from a smaller channel and then start trying to go after competitive keywords, because the people that are ranking for those keywords are bigger channels. They have hundreds of videos, they've got thousands and hundreds of thousands of views, and so you just have to, again, kind of play that game as you grow. Now, every now and then, one of your videos may get found, discovered, or it might get a huge spike in views because it got recommended to a bunch of people. It got shared by maybe someone, or it got mentioned by another larger channel or something like that. So that is a factor that does come into play. But it's kind of slow and steady kind of wins the race. And so start really being, if you're using TubeBuddy, that's, go for that. And just make sure that you are ranking or searching for keywords that you can rank for, longer tail keywords, especially when you're new.
I think I was just going through keywords there and using TubeBuddy, and I found a nice one up on the screen right now. We've got OBS live streaming tips. So based on what you're just saying, a score of very good. So search volumes in the orange, which isn't necessarily a bad thing always.
Yeah.
Competition's underweighted, and the optimization strength, well, there's an opportunity because no one's really optimizing. So there you are. There's your next video, Rob.
There it is.
If you use OBS.
I just got to figure out OBS.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you'll have no problem figuring that out. That's no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got a question here from Dave, who's the partner in the channel. Do you find your live audiences different in what they want to regular videos? That's a good question, Dave.
Good question. Yeah, Dave, I think the live is just a little bit of a different interaction. Usually, depending on what sorry, let me answer that properly. The title and everything, like right now we're talking about how to crush your first YouTube live, right? And so as long as they came because of that, they saw the title, they saw the thumbnail, Dave, you clicked on that, and then hopefully we're going to be delivering some things here to talk about how to crush your first YouTube live. But then also, Ed put in Q&A. And so yeah, we're doing Q&A right now. And so as long as you're delivering on what the promise is in the title and the thumbnail, then I think you're good. There's just, I don't think it's a difference of what they're looking for and what they want, because essentially you're going to kind of be talking about the same thing, whether it's a regular video uploaded or in your live stream. It's not like I'm going to be talking about live streaming in my regular videos, and then I'm going to be talking about astronomy or something in my live streams. It's going to be the same content. I think it's just the live stream has this added component of the interaction, like we're having now, Dave. So I think that's what makes them come back to the live stream, is that sort of like that interaction and getting to ask you, these questions. I know for us on the TubeBuddy, every Wednesday, we have different experts taking over the channel completely. We're not even showing up. We're in the back end and stuff, but they just take over the channel. They do a workshop and Q&A, and people show up because they get to interact with these YouTube experts, and they get to ask them their questions, the questions that they've been always wondering about. And so, access during the live stream to, knowledge like that, I think is why people come as well. So
I get, especially when they're at that level of as well, you're usually having to pay them for that sort of access. So it's a bargain.
Yeah, exactly.
When you get to interview them on a live, kind of like this.
Exactly.
So the dog just came in. All sorts of things happen on lives.
Oh no, it's all good.
So I think that's summed up our questions for now. I just want to hop off of live, even though the title was about that, and just quickly chat to you about something that I've noticed you doing. So it's just something I'm doing a lot of work on at the moment, is looking at TikTok and also Instagram, because you can kind of work together. So you started your own TikTok account, didn't you? I'm just wondering why. Yeah. Is there anything you kind of want to achieve with it, or is it just playing with it, getting used to it? What was your thought process behind that?
Yeah. Good. Thanks. Good question, Ed. So the whole TikTok thing. So I have we have a a 10-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter. And so my 10-year-old he's all he knows TikTok way more. It's his thing. You know, him and his friends, they have TikTok accounts and stuff. And so I said, you know what, why don't you start a TikTok account for me? And basically he manages it for me in a way, like he just tells me what to put up and stuff. And so yeah, so to answer your question, Ed, I'm just totally messing around, like totally
Okay.
just for fun. Yeah, so we're just having fun there. I mean, I don't know. I see a lot of YouTube. There's a lot of you know, if you really dig into it, there's a lot of like connection between overlap between people that are on YouTube and TikTok. I guess
Yeah.
it's just that generation. But I don't know. I don't know if it's anything that's going to lead into, you know, sort of like like as a business channel anytime soon for us. I think it's more of a same. It's kind of like one step sort of below Instagram, where it's just like awareness and being present. You know, I know like TubeBuddy, we don't have a TikTok account. It's something we've been talking about. Actually, one of our social media manager, Hannah, it has a massive following on TikTok on her personal, and so she may do something with TikTok for you for TubeBuddy. But yeah, no, to answer your question, it's just totally for fun, and it's a good excuse for me to hang out with my kids. So
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. I'm constantly getting people screaming that you've got to be on it, and then you look and they're not on it. So I've just been playing around with it recently, and yeah, it's come to the similar sort of conclusion as you. Okay, so we're just going to sum this up now. Rob, if there was one killer tip you could give for going live, or one bit of advice you could give to anyone out there who's thinking about it, what would that one thing be?
Yeah, I would just say do it. You know, just like it's the same advice that I would give someone that's thinking about just starting on YouTube in general, is just start doing live streams. You know, no matter how big your channel, how small your channel, start doing live streams. If you are kind of a little bit nervous about it, go and live into a unlisted live stream first, just so you get kind of see how it all looks and feels, and then start just having fun with it. You know, you can always make it unlisted after. You know, you don't have to keep it up, right? So you know, do it. Either do a Q&A with your audience, or invite a guest and just have a random conversation, you know, sort of like with other people in your space. And you'll start seeing, you know, that interaction, and hopefully, you know, you enjoy it and you keep doing it. I love that you're doing it, Ed. It's funny, you know, I interviewed you on the TubeBuddy channel and I said you should do lives, and here you are and doing awesome. Your lives look great, by the way, with the background and the text and everything. It looks great.
My
So well done.
lockdown hair is letting me down a bit. I look okay, I can get it cut in a few weeks. I'm excited for
Yeah,
that. But
I don't have that. I don't
yeah,
have that problem, you know.
yeah, you're lucky. I'm gonna keep at it and just keep trying it and seeing what happens. I think you're right. It's a consistency thing,
Yeah.
and it's a nice thing to try and make better. So I'm just gonna keep trying to add to it.
Yeah.
And then hopefully one day when we've got a big audience, we'll get you back on. We'll do a little review.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, anytime.
yeah.
Anytime.
So whatever happens,
Anytime.
good or bad, it's all your fault, basically, Rob.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take this one for the team. Yeah, no
thanks,
problem.
Rob. Okay, all right. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you've got any comments and you've not watched this live, feel free to leave them in there, and we'll do our best to answer them. Take care. Have a good day.
Hey guys.